Okay, Ann, which country are you in?
Hello all.
You here in the US?
I am.
Good. Gary, I
Yeah.
told you Greg got that job with the NFL,
Yes.
and then they called him just a few minutes after I talked to you and said, no, the head office wants to have an AP certified photographer for that job.
There you
So
go.
he's already lost it, but he thinks he'll get in again. So that's good. Has it occurred to you guys that summer's almost over?
Yes.
Yeah,
God,
Grandkids are all getting ready to go back to school.
It's crazy that we're halfway through August and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still waiting for June to start.
Mhm.
Well, I'm going up north next week for a couple, 3 days, come hell or high water. We bought a new motorhome and I gotta get out and try it.
Well, Bob, the Dream Cruise is this weekend.
Really? Golly, that's just, there you go again. That's an August thing.
My
See,
grandkids are already booking time for the Roadster.
I was just gonna say, you getting that Roadster out?
Yeah, it's all waxed up, ready to go.
Golly. So they're gonna be heavy on Friday night and then the big deal is Saturday?
Yes. I guess there was a crowd out there on Monday night. I guess everybody's anxious to get back out there.
I may have to take the motorhome and cruise it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
It's a little motorhome.
do you still have your other motorhome, Bob?
No, that big Class A, about a week and a half ago, I went to use it and there was something else wrong with it. It was another $2,000 bill. And I said, enough's enough, and drove straight to the RV dealer and said, this is yours. What do you got? So I got the smallest motorhome you can buy. So it's the size of a big van, just a regular van. I can park it in a regular parking spot.
Oh, that sounds good.
Well, the problem is there's nowhere near the storage. I mean, if I just took the stuff out of the motorhome, the old one that I like, tires and cables and you name it, that was a heaping pickup load of stuff that we were carrying around. And we're probably going to have limit of 200 or 300 pounds of miscellaneous stuff when we get done getting us in the water and everything in. But it'll work.
I talked to Tom Pinar. He said he'd be there. Joseph was coming.
Okay, good. Oh, Joseph is right here.
He is a star. He was on ABC television last night.
Really?
Yeah, I'll let him tell you the story.
We're going to have to find out. Here's Ron Wangrove. Joseph, I hear you're a star.
Tell us a story, Joseph.
Which one?
Well, you're the ABC News star of the night.
Oh, well, I was one of these unlucky guys that lost not only, lost completely water for about 20 hours. And it's kind of annoying. You cannot even take a shower in the morning, or you cannot cook anything. And on the toilet. You can only go about twice to the toilet and until the tank is empty. And then what do? The firefighter stopped by and they gave me a case of water. And they said I can pick up another case every day at the fire department. But fortunately, the loss of water was only for about 20 hours. And afterwards, we had water again, but the water we have now for the next 3 weeks, we have to boil. If you want to cooking or clean, or if you want to cook it or drink it.
So what was the root cause of that?
In Port Huron, about 1 mile west of Port Huron, a 120-inch water pipe broke, and we get the water from that plant. And 20 hours was needed to close the valves left and right of the break and redirect the water supply from someplace else, Detroit or who knows where. And as per today's news, it takes us 3 weeks to get this repaired. And for 3 weeks, we have to boil water.
Okay.
But hey, I'm happy to have water. Not having water at all, that's really annoying.
Here's Tom Pernar. Ron, how are you feeling?
Not well. I'm down 40 pounds from my normal weight. I
Ouch.
can't gain any weight. I'm really having a tough time. But thanks for asking. I'm
You bet.
going to stay on as long as I can. I don't have much energy or strength, but
Okay.
I missed all of you folks. And by the way, thank you for the kind get well card. That was really appreciated.
Oh, good. Well, we'll have your stuff up first tonight so that if you get tired, why, just leave us.
It's good to see you on here, Ron.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks.
yeah.
Okay. It's 7:03 and we're at 12 people. I had high hopes that Ron Conigliaro was going to join tonight, but I haven't heard from him. He told me a couple weeks ago he was going to be here, but I suspect a lot of you have seen some of his pictures. They're pretty amazing.
Well, let's get started. If others come in,
Sure.
they can join. Let's see, Ron, we'll get you up here first.
Oh, those are neat.
This first one is, this was the Frankenmuth Hot Air Balloon Festival in 2015. And I'd never been to it before, so I went to the main area where all the stuff was going on, and somebody told me, this was early in the morning, somebody told me, oh, they won't launch from here. This is where they will end up. And so they sort of directed me to the general area where they may be launching. So I went out there and I found probably somewhere between 5 and 10 other I'll call them storm chasers, for lack of a better term, myself included, that were chasing the balloon trucks around. I felt like the storm chasers in the movie Twister. We put on a dirt road chasing the trucks, and then the trucks would all of a sudden stop and they'd turn around and we'd all turn around and chase them. Finally, we got to this open area, and there were a few of the photogs that I've recognized from meetups that were running across the open fields like I was. And we got to get up real, as you can see, real close to where they were inflating the balloons.
It's nice because having her there gives you that sense of scale that you sometimes miss.
Yeah, she was really, really tugging, but it was obvious she'd done it before. She was not a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice shot. Good colors.
All the lines point right at her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Next one is, again, the same balloon festival, only this time the balloons were all up. And as I recall, I think this guy was getting ready to participate in a competition they had where you'd try to snag something, but I'm not sure about that. But I liked the fact that I was able to shoot from underneath them a little bit, and in Photoshop, I enhanced the smiley face on the bottom of the basket there. I thought that added a little bit
Yeah,
of a
it sure does.
touch of interest to it.
Yeah, and again, you've got great leading lines.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm.
Nice close-up too.
Thanks. The last one was at the Battle Creek Hot Air Balloon Festival, same year, 2015. And at the end of the hot air balloon festivals, I didn't know this, but apparently it's very common. They anchor the balloons and they have what they call balloon glow.
Mhm.
And the crowd yells, light them up. And they, of course, they've already been inflated, and they all hit them with a blast of hot gas, and it lights up all the balloons. And I was fortunate to catch this one.
Very pretty.
Thank you.
Here's Kirk coming in.
Those are good, Ron. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ron, did you ever get out to the Howell Balloon Fest?
No, I never did. That was one I was going to go to, I think that same year. And something came up, I couldn't go, but I understand that's a good one.
It's a good one, and it's usually in the latter part of June.
Oh, okay.
Catch it next year.
Well, we'll see. Right now, I have enough trouble walking from one end of the house to the other.
Bob, I think these are yours.
Yeah. As you guys know, I don't get out and photograph much, but I did go out for the World Series of Historic Baseball at Greenfield Village this weekend. And these shots are some I picked up Sunday. And the game shots are of the first and second place teams going for the World Championship. World meaning the US. But I guess it's a legitimate deal that it is the entire country and then some. And because it has been a California trophy before. And these teams were relatively local. They were within 50 miles, but kind of cool. Little beanbag toss that they were doing. This is the game, and I don't know if many of you have seen these or not, but they make their own uniforms, they make their own bats, they play by 1800s rules, no gloves, everything's bare hand. It's a pretty tough sport, but and the rules are quite different than regular ball. You'll see the guy on the left side there with the top hat, he's one of the umpires. They wander all over the place.
I like how you caught the ball there.
Yeah, I was kind of working at that. And unfortunately, I had too short a lens for a lot of what I was trying to do.
One of the interesting rules I noticed on Saturday is they have a fence way back by the railroad track. And if you hit what normally would be considered a home run, they call it a foul ball. So you have to keep it in the field of play.
Yeah, there's a lot of strange rules.
Yeah, if you catch a foul ball on the first bounce, it's an out.
Yeah, this guy you can't see very well, but the ball has just entered his hands.
Yeah, I can see it.
Just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Oh, yeah.
And you see the pitcher looking at him.
They get quite a crowd.
Oh, yeah, a lot of people there. It's kind of a big deal.
Bob, did you do continuous shooting, like 10 frames a second?
Not too much, but I did some. And then, of course, the train goes by and everybody on the ball diamond stops and waves and yells at the train people. So that's the Torch Lake. I did learn something this weekend that the Torch Lake is the oldest train engine in the country that's been in continuous service.
Wow.
It's nice, Bob. I like the fact you did a lot of these in black and white. It's nice.
Yeah, I mean, they're just snapshots, but this one
There you go.
was the subject of a wrong call. And I, of course, was not going to go tell the umpire. He blew it. But yeah, they said this guy was, didn't make it, or that he did make it, and
Yeah, he was out.
you can clearly see the balls there. What I didn't have is this guy with the ball slid about 10 feet. He was really in the dirt. You see a guy in the background running over to third base.
Cool.
Here's a guy going from second, throwing back to first. He's got both feet off the ground. And all these teams are really friendly to each other, but it's pretty authentic. One of the things they had behind this little shanty was a tent that you could go in and look at the actual bat used in 1863, I think it was, for the first World Series.
Oh,
So they had a
wow.
lot of old memorabilia there.
And in that corner, the ball looked a lot smaller too. They had displayed there.
Yeah. Of course, it could have shrunk up from 100 years of drying out.
It's all desiccated.
These are fun.
Yeah, it was an interesting day. I mean, I've seen games there before, but it was a lot more intense with this. Unfortunately, I got the modern water cans.
Bob, you can see the scoreboard back here, 6 runs in the first inning, 4, and then either 8 or 3. So they do a lot of scoring.
Yeah, they were saying during the games that that some of the tournament games back in the 1800s, the scores might be 60 to 80.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my.
They get a few broken fingers out there. I mean, that without gloves, those guys are really hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, Greg Snyder was over on the third base line and was talking to one of the guys that dislocated a finger during the game. This guy just hit it. But again, you can see the crowd's pretty good. Everybody's interested.
Fun.
Yeah, the faces on the people watching the game are interesting to go through the crowd.
Now, this
Really
shot
nice.
was taken from a place you're not supposed to be because I didn't see the sign.
Yeah, right.
And my granddaughter, the snake, was back quite a ways videotaping me and doing a close-up on the sign that says you can't go that far. But this is the train just entering the area where the field is, and the engineer saw me and smiled and then blew his tanks.
Oh, nice.
So if you had been standing there when can you get burned from that?
Oh,
steam?
yeah. Yeah, that's
Ooh.
all over 200 degrees, and it's got flakes of lime coming out of it. I wasn't that close, but then here he is coming a lot closer to me.
You can also get covered with a lot of soot coming from those
Yeah.
engines.
Well, they're nice images.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Here's some more. You can see the ball is just off above the end of his bat.
Nice.
Notice the
Oh, yeah.
umpire on the right.
That's great.
It's a good artography shot, Bob. I like that.
I was just shooting what I could. And here's the winning and losing teams at the end of the game. The losing team gets a bag of peanuts, and I think the winning team gets like $300.
Oh,
And there we are.
Those are great.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice, Bob. So back in July, Doug and I went into Ann Arbor just to do some walk around and see what we can find. And there was an art exhibit at Gallup Park, and the first three, I think, are a couple. They have these big posters up, and so the first three are just some of the stuff in that exhibit.
It's cool.
So yeah, I was hoping to get somebody in front of them. So Doug was the only one. There was nobody around really to photograph in front of it. So, but they were pretty interesting works of art.
Yeah, they are.
Mhm.
Fun.
This is in Ann Arbor. It's behind in one of the parking lots.
So much color to work with.
Yeah, it's a pretty expansive wall. They've got colors up and down. This is just one little section of it.
This is probably one you don't want to do in black and white.
Right.
It just wouldn't be the same, would it? So this is my attempt to do a traditional street photo there. Nothing like the Fleetwood Diner there.
Classic.
Classic, yeah. Now this one, they have some of the streets closed off in Ann Arbor so that people can dine in the streets, but there's, again, a lot of colors here, so I kind of left them. But then on the next one, I did that treatment there with the
Ooh, that's
one.
nice.
It's amazing how it makes the road look wet and you get those reflections.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, on the first one, if I was just showing that, I would have probably cropped out the yellow lines, but I kind of like the yellow here in this one.
Oh,
Yeah, it looks good on this one.
Can you go back to the previous quickly? Yeah, cool.
So Keith, is this a combination of the motion blur, vertical motion blur and the original?
Yes,
And using difference?
difference, right?
It's interesting though, I have trouble with the skin tones when I do that, and yet you were able to get the
Yeah, for some
tones-
reason, yeah.
tones correctly. That's good.
Another pair here, I just kind of a classic shot of a big building, but then I gave it just a
Oh,
different.
Oh,
street.
that looks nice.
wow.
Yeah, sure does.
Whoa. Did you take out that little red basket intentionally?
Uh,
Or the,
Chair.
oh,
It's
they
there.
turned colors. Yeah, okay.
It turned
okay.
turquoise or something.
Yeah.
It's really hard to predict the colors when you use
Yeah.
that difference
Yeah.
in the way they
Yeah,
change.
now this one I didn't use the linear blur, but I just used the difference on a different
Yeah.
one.
You have really good luck with that, Keith, or you the right images with that.
Yeah, I think,
Always seem to work for you.
Yeah.
well, of course, I don't show the ones that don't work, so.
I think that might look interesting cropped too, uptight. You've got some interesting things in there that you could,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
make a
could-
series of images almost.
Here I did another pair. This is the original scene, and there's the linear blur.
Very nice.
Good job.
Ah, okay.
Is Kirk with us?
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Yes.
here.
Okay, go ahead.
I tried to put a little collection together that where I could, briefly maybe talk about different techniques that I use in street with my camera. This is an example of, gee, nice stage. Now I need an actor to come into it. And, it started to rain. I saw this atmosphere. I saw, New York City. And I kind of waited and I saw this yellow taxi coming. So often we see images, and the comment is, nice stage, where's the actor? I love that doorway and the other thing that Keith showed with the thing, but wow, if there was a person that walked into that frame, or if there was somebody standing on a balcony, that's what would give it like that story.
You're right. Yeah.
I like how it says exactly what it is, New York water taxi.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's right by the Brooklyn Bridge there.
Mhm.
This is also an example. I had the mothership that my son designed and built as an architecture student for this thing called 1 Mile, and I just needed some people to walk into the scene, so I got these silhouettes, and it kind of gave context. And then you have characters pull up, and this segues into asking permission. You say, if I see some stranger, I say, God, I love your outfit. Would you mind if I got a photograph of you? And so I always I think background, with I could have just taken a cool picture of them, but in the context of the background, I'm always thinking about background.
Yeah, that worked
Well,
out nice.
Yeah.
The graphic designs on their clothing match that graphic.
Yeah, this
on the
picture
ship.
actually got
Yeah,
used
I like
for
that.
his funeral. David Philpott, he was a Detroit artist. And this image got shown at South by Southwest, and it also hangs in a German architecture museum. This is also asking permission. One thing I do when I see someone that's kind of cool and stuff, I'll just kind of make eye contact with them, and I'll point at my camera, and I'll give him little okay sign. And he sort of nodded, and he was just chill. And I kind of like the graphic, the balance of the phones, and then the sign that said Harlem along with him. It just gave me a story.
I wish I had the courage to ask more people. It's just,
Well, you just look at them and point at your camera and say, okay. But as you'll see, I don't always ask. And sometimes I have to be stealth. This guy I asked, this is asking permission. I saw him, I was down by the Rouge River in an area that was being taken over by the oil companies, and where the tar sand stuff comes in, and they were going to be destroying all these houses, and they were really cool places. This guy was kind of hungover, hanging out on his porch, and I said, dude, I love your attitude. You mind if I get a shot of you? He goes, oh no, that's cool, man. So
I get that radio on the background. Is that a composite image?
Yeah, right. I enhanced this. Because I wanted to, the story was, the guy's head, he's hungover, having a cig, he's blurry minded. So I did a spin blur on the background with his face centered. So it's 2 layers. And then I masked out and, erased the blur so that, the sharpness of his face and cigarette came through.
It's nice.
Nice.
Real good.
Some people absolutely do not want you to take pictures, like drug dealers in New York City that hang out by the subways and make their sales. And so I kind of hung back with a real long lens, and I like the background, there was this. So this guy was just scoping out, waiting for business by the subway, and these guys saw me, and they gave me like a nasty look. So I sort of backed off. And the other thing I do is I preset my camera. I'll get the focus and everything the way I want it, let the camera hang out there. And then when I see that moment, he brought his hands up and he was just like contemplating. I lifted my camera, took the shot and walked away.
Yeah, I like this one.
Another technique I use is when I'm walking on the street, I let my camera hang at my side and, typically with a really wide angle on it. And, you get that fashion look of shooting from really low. So ladies end up with really long legs and things like that. And again, I'm looking for a background and waiting for someone to walk into it. So a lot of these shots I sort of stalk.
So that's just because you're using a really wide lens?
Yeah, that's right. And I preset the length and it's hanging, down by my knees, by my side. And I just kind of practice, you could sort of do that, take some shots to, chimp it and look at it and say, okay, and how's my angle? And you sort of dial in your angle. I probably shot a little wider than this and, fixed it a little bit, but that's how you get a shot like that.
So you're not actually looking through the lens, you're just.
No, not at all. A lot of the shooting that I'll do, I don't know if I brought in another example that I think I showed previously. I'm not actually looking through the camera at all, but I'm presetting my camera for a focal length that I know I'm going to shoot at. And, I probably, drop my f-stop down so I get greater depth of field. And with a wide angle lens, you're getting that anyway. So I, preset my exposure and that stuff. Oh yeah, this is it. This was a guy, I don't know, I showed this, I think maybe before, but this was the other sort of semi-stealth technique. I didn't want him looking at me or my camera or anything like that. This guy was, doing pull-ups and in Times Square and people were watching him. I saw it and this was a fisheye. And so I knew I had tons of depth of focus. I just focused quickly on something about the distance where I figured I would be as I walked up to him. And as I walked up to him, I just lifted my camera to my waist, shot up at him, click. And he looked at me and he goes, "Did you take my picture?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "I don't want you to take my picture." I said, "Then what the hell are you doing half naked in Times Square doing pull-ups all sweaty, And he looks at me, he kind of laughs. He goes, "You're strong." He just wanted to intimidate me. Another thing, I think about the decisive moment. I was down at the, what do you call it? The Armory, or what's that called down at the bottom of Manhattan?
Battery.
The Battery?
Battery, yeah, down by the Battery. And you can see the Statue of Liberty in the distance, and it was kind of hazy and foggy. And, these guys are walking around all over the place, to get their picture. And he was kind of bored, and I just sat there at a distance and I had him, and I kind of kept moving around, waiting him to turn his head. And so, it was like I had the stage, I had the actor, and I just needed to wait for that decisive moment to take the shot.
That's cool.
Nice.
That's it.
Really good.
So those are, that's not any of the blur techniques or anything, but that's a little bit about presetting, seeing the stage and letting the picture come to you. That's a Jay Mizell line. That's what he did all the time. He found a stage, he sat himself down and he waited for something to come into his frame.
Good.
Very good.
Nice stuff.
Very good, Kurt.
Thanks.
Okay, these were from our recent trip that Ann and I did to Iceland as well as other places. These images, I believe, are, well, actually, I think some are from the Faroe Islands, and then I think more of the street stuff was from Reykjavik. And Ann may have some of the same ones, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing if we, I'm sure we edited them differently.
I didn't edit any of the window pictures, Linda. So if you have more of those, I will have them tonight.
Okay. Well, and this was one where we actually, we took a picture of a lady and she was not happy. Remember that, Ann?
Yeah.
Was shaking her finger at us. And
Yep.
yeah, that didn't go well, but ladies were, unaware that their picture was being taken, and I thought it was, sort of capturing that intimacy, that intimate moment between them. And I just kind of like the symmetry of it. So. And this clearly seemed to be a very heated discussion. They seemed oblivious to everything going on around them. She's got her hand on his lapel, and it's hard for me to put into words. I think it's a good composition, but I can't really tell you why.
I like how you highlighted them in the front, gave them more light. So that your eye goes to them and not the background.
Yeah, it's good.
And I, made the background a little less clear. I think there's some framing going on with the scooters and the wall next to them. So that helped too, I thought maybe.
Yeah, and I remember this, Linda. And so, I mean, these things happen, like anybody who does street photography, kind of in an instant.
Oh, yeah.
So, you captured it right at the right moment.
Yeah, it's good that guy on the
That's
left is
great.
actually walking into the frame. I mean, you don't like to have things overlapping like that, but if he was walking out of the frame, it would take your eye out of the frame. So that, that lets it work.
Yeah, thanks, Kirk. I also liked the way his legs were, there was no awkward position. It's a clean stride. I thought that helped a little too. So this is more a landscape. This is from the Faroe Islands. And I think I have a couple images of this because I've since made the decision, but initially there's another image of this, Gary, where there's a sailboat. I had lined the three objects up. Yeah, right there. I had lined the three objects up, and I was, all proud of myself for actually noticing and thinking of that. But when I actually started to edit it, the sailboat just, to me, it seemed more of a distraction. The sail's not up. It's hard to see it. So I was going to ask the group your thoughts if I should take it out. But
Hey, Linda, I thought the same way. And I took it out on one of my pictures. I didn't do a lot of this because that's when my ball head died. But my husband said the same thing, better without the sailboat because it doesn't do anything for the picture.
I didn't.
yeah,
even
it's
notice
hard
the
to see it.
sailboat
Like
at
if you
first.
blow the image up, you can see it, but in the smaller images, it's.
Yeah, it
Was the
loses it.
sailboat moving?
It's so light against the dark water.
Was the sailboat
Right.
moving?
Was it moving? Yeah, oh yeah, it was moving.
Yeah, well, I in my opinion, it was a mistake to have them all lined up. When you think about group portraits, you want triangles. So you would have wanted that triangle, either the boat out in the bright water and it would, it's the graphic of the boat would stand out more, or likewise in the dark water. But if you had created, I think if it was like low in that dark area, because that dark area, it's a big void, your eye gets a little like, what's going on there? But I love this picture. I have to emphasize, I think it's a beautiful composition. But if you're going to have the boat in there, creating a triangle between the cabin, the rocks, and the boat.
I hear what you're saying. And I think in another image, I do have that. In this one, I was seeing the bigger triangle, the slope coming down and hitting the house, and then the three items creating the other side of the triangle.
Yeah.
So it all kind of creates a V. Do you see what I'm?
If you were to crop 25% off the top and crop out most but not all of that big rock on the right, that focuses you more on the grass on the left. And I really like the way that grass looks. It's just a different way to
I
do
have
it.
a different image that shows that better. I really didn't want to crop out the clouds,
Yeah.
but I have an image that's kind of what you're talking about. That's better.
Yeah, the grass is cool.
Here you can see the boat better.
Yeah. It looks more naturally placed there too.
I like the grass roof on that building.
Yeah,
Yeah, they have grass roofs in the Faroe Islands on several homes.
That's what started the whole trip. I saw a photo of a house with a grass roof and I had to where it was from. And then I was like, I have to go there. I have to get a picture of a house with a grass roof. And it led to this whole trip.
How far ahead of time did you schedule that trip?
Oh, at least a year. It was over a year, wasn't it, Ian?
Yeah, because we did 3 together. So we did the
Yeah.
Faroe Islands, the Highlands, and Greenland all together with the same company. So we made sure we did it far in advance because a couple of them sell out right away. Faroe Islands and the Red Sails will sell out way in advance.
I'm in my 3rd year. I'm finally getting there.
You'll like it.
Yeah.
It's right up your alley. So these are just some street scenes in downtown Reykjavik. And I sort of took the opposite approach that Kirk mentioned with the stage and the actor. I preferred the scenes to have no people in them. I wanted them to be more about the colors and the lines. And by themselves, I don't think the images are necessarily impactful or telling a story, but as a group, I think they make kind of a nice series. And so it was important to me that they all have a very similar look so that it kind of tied them together. So this was one of the images. This is actually City Hall. There's a combination of reflections in the glass as well as, being able to see through the glass. And then this would be a companion image focusing a little more on some of the architecture. There is a gentleman, there is an actor, I guess, on my stage, Kirk, but he was more of a.
No, these are cool. There's no hard and fast rule.
No, right. I get it. I totally agree with what you said, but this is an instance where that was not something I was looking to do.
I like the way you did the border on these.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. I love my borders, even though some people don't. And again, this one, I liked the emptiness of it. I did like that, it just kind of went with the other images. And so for me, it worked being kind of.
I like this.
But you've got actors. I mean,
The scooters.
The scooters are your actors. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
about the
that's
scooters.
true.
Yeah. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be a person.
Oh, that's a good point. This is another one. Now here, I got a little lucky here because the sky was so white and so solid. We were taking our images at really low exposures. And I honestly did not even know this woman, that was just looked like a black void when I was taking the image. And it wasn't until I started to edit it that she appeared. And so I was very thankful. I think it added, her dress is the same color as the door. So the photography gods were very kind to me.
See, you didn't need the priest.
Yeah, but the priest is
Yeah.
better. And
Yeah,
has a
I do
great,
have the priest, it's a female priest. I didn't even know.
the minister. Yeah,
Until I
yours,
looked at my image and then I didn't realize it was a female.
yeah, no, yours is better, but this
Oh,
for
no,
me.
this is good. And yours is at a different angle than mine. I like your angle better.
Yeah, actually, that's a tough shot to get because I think the side that you're on, the park is over to your left side there. Isn't there? There's a park across the street to the left.
Like a plaza.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you don't have a lot of room to get that shot. Did you do alignment, the vertical? Yeah.
Yes.
Because that was really distorted when you took the shot and then you had to
Yes.
correct it. You did a really good job of that, I thought, because I saw that picture. I thought, how the hell did she get that with this little room that she had? Bravo. Well done.
Thank you, Kurt. And this is, again, just kind of going with the others. I tried to keep everything in the same tones.
Are you
This
using
had-
a filter, Linda, to do the tones? Like some kind of filter?
No, just the sliders, working with
Okay.
sliders.
Yeah.
And
But I like the series that you have with the same kind of tones. It looks good.
Is this a much bigger building that if you stood back, you could get a Wes Anderson shot?
Well, it is, and I do, and this is cropped in pretty tight, but a lot of it just looked to me extraneous. You start to lose the detail of the revolving door and the window, the window above it. And so I cropped it in with just the name of the hotel kind of having that Wes Anderson look. I have an image from quite a bit farther back where you get kind of the whole hotel. It's okay, but I don't know. You can see what Ann thought too, or other people.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, Linda. And well, what I found is there was also, I didn't have my wide angle lens, but even using the iPhone, which is pretty wide angle, to
Mhm.
get the whole building and get it so you didn't have to do a lot of geometry on it was pretty difficult. And there was artwork on the opposite side of the street, in the street. So there are a lot of interferences.
Okay.
So I don't think getting the whole building would necessarily look good. And then you're going to have some cars parked and stuff. So that would have been a big distraction. In fact, you'll see, I do have a picture of this, but mine's cropped in even further.
And the Art Deco look is pretty much right here.
Yeah.
The building doesn't really have it.
Linda, I think this is a killer Wes Anderson shot. I would send this into their site. I think this is great.
Oh, thank you, Gary.
Yeah, I think the cropping, everything, it's perfectly symmetric, and the colors may not be necessarily, what Wes Anderson is looking for. He's got more vibrant colors, but I think that, this works. This is a great shot.
You can
Thank
change the
you.
colors if you needed to.
Then it wouldn't go with everything else. This is a closer up of those C stacks.
I like that.
I'll tell you, these for me were extremely challenging to edit. There is so much green in the light, I think reflecting because there's just so much green in the environment. And I had a hard time. It took me a long time to get these to where I felt they looked natural, but showing off the beauty of the place.
Yeah, if any of you guys have any tips, because I'm going to say the same thing, because we obviously were there at the same time, and there's a lot of atmosphere, and so the clarity was very difficult, and it was very dark, overcast, and I had the same issues, Linda.
Yeah,
Trying to-
color. I feel like I still have so much to learn with color.
Well, yeah, and you will in another 20 years, you'll have trouble.
Yeah, well,
A lot of people in the old days, I had seen where photographers, when they had challenges with color cast, would go in and make sure the red, greens, and blues were equal in their white balance. You might just try that and see if that helps. It doesn't always work.
What do you mean by that? You mean on the histogram?
Yeah, if you have equal parts, equal values of red, green, and blue, that is technically neutral.
So they would have, what would that look like on a histogram? Would it be right on top of each other and all have the same exact shape?
Well, just look for the numbers and see if there'll be a number for the value for reds, greens, and blues on your histogram.
Okay.
It's something to try anyway. I don't know that it's a foolproof thing, but I do remember Scott Kelby was saying that was one of the ways he got rid of color casts. I don't know
Okay.
if any of you guys have ever tried that.
So Linda, you're saying that the original was much less contrasty than this. Is that what you're saying? It was more moody.
I wish I had included the original. Yeah, the original is very dull, very gray. But when you start to edit it, you start getting a lot of green. And so then I had to try to get rid of the green without, I tried to do it with the tint, but then you get too much pink. And I just found it challenging to get what I felt was just right and something.
Mhm.
looked
In terms of a
natural.
color
I-
balance.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
I think you did a great job.
Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to get there from here. Another one would be if you just use the tint sliders, that's a little blunt instrument. But if you go
Mhm.
down to the hue, saturation, and luminance, you can adjust just the green. Of course, the green may have some yellows in it, and it may have some other colors.
Right. And so maybe that's just, maybe this is an image that just takes a lot of time.
Oh, for sure.
This
For
is what
sure.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, if I was looking at this image, I'd say, probably the toughest thing really is to get the rock the way you want it to look, the rock face.
Mhm.
So I would, in my own, flow, I would be adjusting color balance to get that rock right. And then I would go down, to the other ones. I mean, the green might be oversaturated and look ridiculous. So I might, reduce the luminosity or increase the luminosity and decrease the saturation on the green. And then if the clouds look like too blue or if they look weird, then, you can adjust that separately, but get the main thing that you want, the right color, and then play
Okay.
with those other colors to tweak it.
And grass is one of those things, people know what grass is supposed to look like, so you've got to
Yeah.
get grass right.
All the time, you'll do an image and then drop down that saturation on the grass because the grass is a giveaway for looking artificial. Now in Faro, you got that green, and some people like from the Antarctic stuff, people don't believe the blues, and you
Right.
don't, because you're always desaturating to make it look believable, because otherwise people think it's like, oh God, that's way oversaturated.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Good
Cool.
stuff.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Nice stuff.
So this
There's
was
that
from,
blue.
yeah, and that's what it looks like.
Absolutely.
So I'm not going to desaturate. Anyway, obviously this is from our red sales trip, and I just included a few that I had already edited because I just really didn't have time right now. But anyway, like I said, the red sails, you have two boats. They both have red sails, and you take turns taking pictures of the other, that they specifically positioned for you. And they were just excellent. Like if they wanted you to get a foreground of an iceberg, they made sure they kept going by it so you could get that iceberg in the foreground.
You nailed the colors on this one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, beautiful.
I love the clouds, those soft pastels and stuff. None of them.
Yeah,
are
that's nature. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what's so
no.
nice about Greenland, Iceland, those areas.
Yep.
But they also lead your eye right to the sailboat. I mean, they help.
Yeah.
Yeah, the angle of that cloud's perfect.
You've got 3 lines going right to that sailboat.
Even the icebergs
Or
pointed.
more, actually.
Yeah, the iceberg's pointing.
Yes. Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Nice
Yes.
shot.
Yeah, some of these, this one was, I had entered in club. So some of you have already seen it, but I wanted to submit it here. Anyway, this to me is probably one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. So I wanted to share it. It's just,
Gorgeous.
thank you. The clouds opened up just at the right moment. And so when I edited this, I made sure, I did a little more vignetting on the sides and helped enhance the middle of the picture there.
That's definitely gallery fine art.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Sure is.
Beautiful and beautiful.
I
Wonderful.
like how the iceberg has the same shape as the sail.
Yes, yeah, the one on the right there, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The repeating triangle.
And this was a sculpture downtown Reykjavik, outside one of the glass buildings.
The Opera House, yep.
Yeah. The
That's
only
okay,
thing
yeah.
here is what I could not figure out how to do is if you look into the sculpture, you can see the cement. I didn't know how in between those, rungs of the sculpture, how to make that black also. So I just left it because I underexposed this purposely because the way it was sitting in the plaza by the Opera House there, it was kind of dark. So I purposely underexposed it so I wouldn't have to worry too much about, making the background black.
There's where luminosity masking might help you.
Okay.
That's a
And
Tom
there's-
Pinar
Yeah.
question.
And there's my version of or what I felt was the Art Deco hotel. So I cropped it in a lot more and kind of left the colors a little more vibrant.
Yeah, warmed it up nicely.
Yeah,
Is that where you stayed?
I love yours as well. It's interesting. It's nice to see how, there's so many options.
Yes. And there's Linda with her red coat against the red house.
Perfect.
So Linda said, "Do you want me to get in the picture?" I said, "Yes." So she did a peek through the gate thing while I took the photo.
That turned out cute, Ann.
Yeah, I like that. And Linda's the model again.
There you go. That makes the picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sure
Well,
does.
Go ahead,
Can I
Linda,
tell
tell
this
them.
one part,
Yeah.
Ann? So
Tell
I offered to walk down the street for her and I said, I wish that some guy on a red bike would have ridden down here. That would have been perfect. So I start walking down the street and I turn around, and just as I turn around, this guy on a red bike rides by me. I was so mad. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I was,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I didn't capture him because I was like kind of in between taking a picture. And by the time I saw him, he was right on Linda's side. So I got him, but it doesn't look good because he's too
Yeah.
close to her.
Well, you two ladies travel a lot and you can do that with each other. Can I do a little model coaching?
Sure.
On the previous picture,
Ron
having-
Candelario joining us.
having Linda walking into the frame. So she's doing a stride in front, so she's sideways, so she's walking down the sidewalk and
Mhm.
having her striding so that she's in front of those gates, because you're getting a back end view here. And then likewise in your second picture, instead of taking her with her walking away from you, have her walk toward you and tell her to walk really slowly and put one foot in front of the other as she does it. So you don't get that side by side foot look.
Mhm.
So you take a bunch of shots there. So you get a bent knee or a toe down or something like that.
That is
Yeah.
important.
Good luck getting my face, Ann. That's not gonna,
Oh, come on, girl.
yeah.
Now, one of the things in wedding photography, we're always telling the brides and grooms is you put one foot in front of the other so you eliminate space between the legs.
Yep.
You want to have a pyramidal shape.
Mhm.
Much more flattering.
This is incredible.
Oh,
great.
this
Yeah.
is what it looked like. I mean, this is the night we saw the whales, Linda.
Yeah. The
Remember the
oranges.
lighting that night? That
Yeah.
night was pastel heaven. And then when we looked, that was like to the side of the boat. And then when you look to the back of the boat, I think it was sunrise was starting and it was bright orange. So we got all kinds of colors that night, from, the blue hour to this. It was unbelievable.
The textures, wow.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
this is nice, Ann. Nice line.
Incredible.
Thank you. Again, there's a different night, but that night were the purples and the blues. I mean, and it changes, obviously. I mean, anybody who's been to Antarctica or Greenland or Iceland, how the skies change. You never know what it's going to look like, but
Well,
it's
your
such a,
iceberg, your
Mhm.
iceberg's defective.
oh yeah, it's cracking. Yes.
Smiling.
Great.
Oh, you got a bird.
Yep.
Wow.
I did not put him in there. I did get him there.
No, yeah. They
Yeah.
were everywhere.
Yeah.
It'd have been nice to have those sails up too.
Yeah, but I like one without.
Yeah, I
because,
agree.
if it doesn't take away from the iceberg, I kind of like
Yeah.
the sky and the colors on the water with the purple and everything. And I think your eye would have gone directly to that rather than really seeing the
Yeah, that's
beauty
true.
of the country there.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, you've got that boat right in the right place too there.
Thank you. Oh, and this was downtown Reykjavik. Linda and I had fun. We took a lot of pictures of this store window. We
Yeah.
just thought those were funny leggings. I don't know what kind of glasses those are on that hat, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
and
a
this
fun
was
shot.
taken with an iPhone because it takes a lot better picture through a window than my regular camera did. So there was a lot of reflection that was hard to get all of that out.
Steampunk glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wonder
Burning.
if they'll do that this year.
Got to go to Burning Man with those things on.
Um,
And this was from my hotel window downtown Reykjavik, and this is just about midnight. So just to let you know, the midnight sun is the midnight sun. This is about sunset, which then again, I think if you've been there or heard about it, it didn't get dark at all. This was about as dark as it got, maybe a little bit more. And then 2 weeks later, when we came back, it started to get dark. In fact, I have a picture I might submit another time of a night scene. It was dark for maybe about 2 hours. So I was up on a balcony taking a picture of the street below, and it was dark. So it changes very quickly. From this time to 2.5 weeks later or whatever it was this almost all night to actually having a couple hours of real darkness. And that's my Wes Anderson.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh, man.
That's great.
I had more somewhere in all my pictures that I haven't gotten to yet, and I know Linda does too, because we specifically told the guys to stop the car. We got to get out and get this picture. But this was at a gas station, and the other gas pumps are pink, but the background was not as clean as this one was, so I submitted this one instead.
Is this from our trip?
Yeah,
Oh, I don't,
remember the pink gas station?
yeah.
Yeah, this was at the pink gas station.
Oh, wow. Well, good for you. I
Is
didn't,
that electric charging station or gas?
I have no idea. It looks like electric, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It
'cause
says
this is
100
100 kilowatt
watts.
here.
Yeah,
Kilowatt.
yeah.
Yeah.
they do have a lot of, at all the gas stations, they do have the electric charging stations.
Yep.
They're way ahead of us.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've got,
might
all
wanna
the
think-
thermal effects there. They got tons of hydro. I mean, they've got tons of electricity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Not an
well, you say that, but they're saying their glaciers will be gone by 2040. So
Mhm.
all these countries need to figure out how to replace that power. Switzerland's already
No,
working.
no, it's not hydro. It's geothermal.
yeah. Iceland is geothermal.
Yeah, but they use hydro too.
They also have tons of minerals on those two big rocks.
Did you, Linda, you the one who told me about Bergen? The
Yeah.
show Bergen? Has anybody else watched that? It's on Netflix or HBO Max? I don't remember. Do you remember, Linda?
It's on Netflix, but it's a
From Denmark.
Danish television show.
Yeah. And we just watched, I think it's season 2. We haven't watched season 1 yet because it's all about Greenland. Right
Season
where
4.
Linda and I were in Illisat and Disco Bay. And the story is that they've discovered oil. And are they going to let them drill, and who's going to do the drilling, and how's it going to affect the environment? And the Denmark, government, of course, is involved. It's very good, very good. So if you like something like that, watch Bergen on on Netflix.
Well, is there much about Bergen itself?
No, they don't talk too much about
Oh,
that.
okay.
Mm-mm. A little bit.
If you watch the first 3 seasons, it's all about, Denmark. The 4th season is the one about Greenland.
Oh, is it? We watched the 4th season?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so we
But
got
you
3
don't
more
need to
seasons
watch.
go back. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
You know,
Yeah.
just one comment on this image. I kind of wonder, if you stooped down to get the roof of that a little higher, so it's not quite so lined up. You don't, and I think it would make the charging station just
Stand out more?
a little more magnificent.
Okay.
If you got low and you were aiming up at it, it would look a little more imposing, maybe.
Okay, it's a good,
That's a
good
good-
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good
Because-
catch.
Another Jay Mizell comment, he goes, Jay said, he goes, I hate it when I look at images, I can tell how tall the photographer is. It's like people just stand all the time and take pictures. Well, get down on your knees, lay down on your belly, and, get that change of angle, and that does things.
And
Okay,
you might want to try a square crop on this just to see what, how that compares.
Okay.
And I like this little touch of orange here. I think that really ties in.
I think the square crop would look good.
okay, I'll do that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right.
Yeah, I think sometimes the borders can really finish the photo. I do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it does in this one. It's very strong.
Yeah,
Mhm.
good choice there.
Nice images.
Love those red sails.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did we get
Well done on
everybody?
that sculpture. That
Well-
sculpture shot's cool.
We have Ron joined us tonight. And you got any pictures to show us, Ron?
Oh, geez, I've got 1,000, but I didn't submit anything. I felt bad, you guys. I was sitting here working and I saw the clock and wanted to come on and see what was going on.
Well, I've seen a few of your recent things on the web and they're pretty amazing. If you got any handy, take control of the screen.
Yeah, I can probably show a couple. So, what Bob's talking about, you guys, is Maya and I just got back from a month in Africa.
Oh, wow.
And it was quite a trip. We had the plan was to go to scout locations to host workshops or like photo expeditions next year. So primarily in Kenya and Botswana. So we were like all over the place. We started in Kenya. We were at Amboseli, and then back to Nairobi. Then we left for South Africa for a day and a half, whatever. And then from there to Mon, Botswana. And then from Mon, we would hop to 3 different camps, like 3 days, 2 days, something like that. Back to Kenya, then from there to we were in Nairobi for a few days, and then off to Masai Mara for the Great Migration is going. So like as we speak is probably the bulk of the migration is going through right now. But it was amazing, I mean, we'd see 10,000 animals cross, and it was unbelievable to think that, like right now there will be upwards of 1.8 million wildebeest crossing through there, total. But anyways, that was kind of the journey. And because we set this up as a photography thing, it was geared more toward like an adventure trip, wasn't for like luxury or anything like that. And my buddy lives in Nairobi, so we had set it up with Masai Mara guys on the ground that would take us, to certain locations to find certain animals or do stuff that maybe we shouldn't have been doing or most people wouldn't get to do. But yeah, so anyways, that's the gist of it. And then let me kind of get it together here. See if I can find some stuff. It's crazy now. Man, these Masai Mara guys, they're like my lost long brothers now. The one thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to shoot the people really as much, if not more, than the animals. And I didn't get to do much of it because just the people that I was traveling with weren't so into that. But
Yeah, they don't like their picture taken, the tribes people.
well, the Maasai guys that we were with, it's actually the chief's son, Paul, that I was with in Amboseli. So they were quite accommodating, and we had free reign to, you know, like go in their homes and photograph them as much as we wanted. But like in Nairobi and stuff like that, yeah, you're right. They would have not have been happy if I did that. Okay, so I just share the desktop.
Yep.
You can see my desktop now.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't really have anything in any order here, you guys. So
Oh, how cute. Oh,
what I've been doing is working on black and whites. There's some competition stuff that I'm doing that required black and white. So
Those are.
is that all from one mother?
Oh, love it.
yes, this is I don't know if they were all brothers, but yeah, it's the 4 cubs from one mom.
Wow.
This
That's
was
so
at
cute.
Amboseli.
Hmm.
And it was just an incredible sight, you know. I mean, when you're, I don't know if anybody's been to Amboseli, but I kind of look at it like Kensington on steroids, you know. I mean, you've got this huge park, and there are trails that go through it, and you're not really supposed to leave the trails. Pretty strict rules about that. So you don't really know if you're going to get on these animals, right? I mean, you're just kind of hoping that
Yeah.
your guide is talking to the right people and that they're in locations that you can get decent photos of them from the trails. So we
cool,
had
though, that- They look so healthy. She is a busy mom. 4 cubs.
yeah, we saw a lot of eating, you know, where there's a lot of animals on the plains right now. So I don't really think that they were hard pressed to find food. I shot you guys over 70,000 photos.
70?
Yeah, easy 70,000, easy. And I've not even looked at hardly any of them. I was so burnt out when we got back that I kind of knew in my head shots that I knew were going to work. So I would go back to a set, you know, and then try to pull one out that I liked. And this was a funny one. The second I took the shot,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I'm shooting the Z9 now, so you're at 20 frames per second, but I knew the exact frame to go back and find where they were lined up in a certain way. And
Yeah.
What lens are you using?
I was using a Sigma 60-600 sport lens.
Okay. That's a new one, isn't it? Didn't that just come out?
It's the newer of the sport. Yeah, I think the old
Yeah.
one is a 150-600.
Do you hand hold it?
Yeah, you can't tripod. You know,
Yeah.
like you could because you're in this Jeep and you're just getting beat to death, you know, and you just wouldn't get any shots if you were mounted because you're just constantly you don't know what the next thing is going to be.
Right.
So you're constantly moving. But you know, your point, I think where you're going, it's the Z9 is a boat anchor, and then putting that big Sigma lens on there, it was just so heavy. And, you know, and you're up at 5:30 in the morning, you get coffee and you go, and maybe you get a little break for lunch but then you're out till dark, you know, so you're holding that thing good 12, 13 hours a day.
Did you find that you relied a bit on that 20 or 30 frames a second because of the extreme vibration and motion ruining some of the shots?
No, because in most cases, you know, I don't know that I got anything that I liked when we were physically moving. You know, we'd be stopped, but the 20 frames per second was sometimes it was a little bothersome because it was almost too fast,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but so I would switch, you know, from like a high speed to a lower speed. And I think I had the lower speed set at 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think with wildlife stuff like this anyways, you can't shoot fast enough. It'll literally be one frame is okay, and then the next frame is great. You know, so I like to capture as many as I can. It's a lot of work to go through them afterwards, but you know, like I said,
What kind of shutter speeds do you use on shots like this?
oh, if I had to guess, I would say this one was probably around 800, 1250, something like that.
Really?
Let me see if I can find the color version of it.
Because I could see where you might want to go to really high shutter speeds to freeze motion.
Well, the light was starting to get bad, I remember.
Okay, that'll do it.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
realize
because you
it.
shoot so early in the morning, you need high.
Yeah.
This one was like an evening shot.
Mhm.
Sorry, you guys, I wasn't expecting to do this, and I'm like totally.
That's okay, they're good.
Here, this isn't the one I was looking for, but this is kind of a cool shot.
I love,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
well, you don't see that every day.
No.
No.
Awesome.
You know what's insane about this, you
Wow.
guys, was we saw the zebras coming to a watering hole. This is in Masai Mara. So looking straight ahead where the balloons are, and behind them, going quite a ways, probably a good hour drive, is the Mara River and the was it Sand River, where the wildebeest are coming, right? They're crossing, and obviously the zebras as well. And we had gotten to a spot where there was a watering hole over this way. And what I wanted was, I just was looking for patterns. And I was trying to get a shot with zebras drinking where they were lined up just right. You know, I could get like a headshot of maybe like 4 or 5 of them in a row. And what we noticed was, like, hard left to me here is a lioness sitting in the weeds, and she was stalking these zebras. And it was crazy. I put some of it on film, but I'm no good at that.
Well, what's so interesting here, besides, I mean, it's amazing to have the balloons, but for the balloons to have vertical stripes with zebras in front.
Yeah,
Right.
Right.
It's really cool.
Yeah, you know what was funny about that was I didn't even really notice it until you know, I seen these balloons coming up at sunset and got this shot. And then later when I was doing post, my buddy in Nairobi, he said, "Oh, you just have to name this photo Stripes." It's,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
but that lion, I go, oh man, I wish I could have got that lion in frame. And you know what happened was, we sat there for quite a while thinking that we were going to get a hunt on film, and a Jeep spotted the lioness and drove like within 20 feet of her and gave away her location to the zebras.
Oh,
So then they all just took off, you know, and our guide said, well, you know, there were just like hundreds of them coming from quite a distance that didn't know the lion was there. So we sat, and I think this here was kind of the second group that was coming in. But she didn't get anything. We didn't actually see her go after him. So, but that was kind of a cool shot. Yeah, for me, looking at this, I'm thinking about the lion that was over there. Would have loved to get her in there. I like this photo a lot. This photo just yesterday was selected by UPIC for the cover, their cover.
Wow.
So I was pretty pumped about that. Yeah, there's like 3.7 million people on UPIC.
Wow.
Hmm.
Now,
So this
how
is
close were you?
this is Craig. He's one of the last big tuskers. Remember, we had people come in and talk to us about Tim and their Africa trip in one of our meetings,
Yes.
right? So that was probably what, like going on 3 years ago now. It was pre-COVID, obviously.
It's when I first joined club.
And so I was really interested in, I knew about Tim and I wanted to go and photograph him, but Tim had passed away from natural causes. And then I didn't think that we were going to get to see a big tusker. And when we got there and we were working with the Maasai warrior guys, they sort of rigged this for us because they took us, well, they told Maya and I that if we wanted to see Craig, that he would get tractors to go and find him. So we told them, yeah, of course. So they called us at about 3 PM or something like that and said that they knew where he was and they could bring us off trail to his location, which probably they're not supposed to do. But anyways, they took us out to the spot and the Maasai guys told Maya and I just go ahead and get out and sit on the ground and shoot. So we just were sitting down like next to the Jeep. There were 2 other elephants that were with him that were very agitated, to say the very least. So what they did was they kind of pulled the Jeep to put the 2 elephants on one side and Craig here was on the other side.
The angle is just everything in this shot.
Yeah.
Man, I'll tell you, I picked right because you know, at first he's a distance away, but I put a 28-300. I always talk about how I love that lens, for street photography. But I thought he was going to come close, and there was no way for me to switch lenses once I got out there. It's so unbelievably dusty. The word Amboseli literally means dust in their language. And you obviously you don't want to do it because of that, and then also you just physically can't because you have this animal. He's like on top of you, and he came literally within an arm's reach of Maya. I mean, she just said "OF," and
Yeah, that's
I
scary.
seen her,
Whoa.
and you know how when you're looking through your lens, you don't really know how far things are. And I pulled my camera down and I was just like, oh my God, he's like on us. And
Oh,
like literally to the point that you couldn't get them all in frame with the 28 millimeters. So
Wow. Beautiful
just,
shot.
just an amazing animal.
incredible.
Lucky you live to tell.
Yeah, like I had been around elephants like this in Botswana before, but you have to be with people that know what they're doing and
Can read their behavior really well.
yeah, and then obviously this elephant Craig is he's over 50. To be a big tusker, you have to be at least 50 years old, and you have to have at least one tusk that weighs over 100 pounds. So, this guy, he's probably, seen a lot of people in his life, and he was pretty gentle, like with us. There was one point where the guide was just yelling at us saying it wasn't safe, and the Maasai guy just told me, just continue what you're doing, just stay low, be calm, don't get up, and just shoot. I think also on that shot, when we were in Kyrgyzstan, we were sponsored by Lee Filters. And so I had some Lee filter gear that I was using, I think it was a 0.6 soft neutral density filter to get the sky more dark like that. think I was probably spot metering on him too, because I remember the light was kind of weird. I just like this photo. I don't know. There's no connection with the lion, but it was worked for a project I was just doing. And I like the texture a lot in this one. Has some cool light.
Yeah.
These lions, you're like right on top of them. And you don't start out that way, but it's like they walk up and they lay down right next to the Jeep. Your heart's pounding out of your body.
Well,
It's
the one-
Like a
amazing.
young one, like a year old.
Yeah, I think it was a young one.
Mhm.
The colored one you did with the Cubs, that was gorgeous. That, yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
the color version of this, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, that's nice.
So the lionesses, there will be more than one female that raises the pride. Or, you know, sets of cubs, if you will. And in this, I think that there were, I think I said 8 on Facebook, but Maya corrected me. I think there were 7 cubs. And this lioness stayed with them. And like maybe 50 yards to my back is another lioness is coming. And she had killed a warthog that the guide said that it was highly unusual that the female, I guess, had walked for miles. And they said usually they won't carry it that far, but she had walked for miles carrying, you know, 2/3 of this big warthog. And it's amazing to me. I don't know how they know, but they know. And so this group was going to meet her. It's unbelievable how they can call each other, you know, and pick out the noises and know what to do. And
Wow.
yeah, I like that photo. It's yeah, the color version of it.
Yeah, you really got the colors beautiful.
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
There's just so much character
Oh.
and so much personality in that shot.
That's so pretty.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to pick them out, you know. I go through the set and like one lion might be looking a different way or have a different expression or whatever. And there's another one that's in this set where you can just barely see behind her. There's actually 2 more cubs back there that you can see. One down to the bottom right and one up to the left. But the one to the bottom right, I've got one of the shots where you can see that one's face. But I didn't like the way the 3 up front looked, and it was obviously more important to have them looking right.
Did you use a fill flash on this?
No, you can't use a flash. No, I think if you used the flash, somebody would beat you over the head. This was like golden hour going into the sunset. And obviously they were walking, looking straight into the sun.
Oh, that's what it is.
Man, we just lucked out, you know, with these shots where we were working the hardest, you know, in the morning and at the evening. But we really lucked out with getting the cats in the right sunlight. It's a lot of you know, me screaming at the driver to be in the right location, you know, and because they'll put you to the animals, but a lot of times what they'll do is they'll be like on the back side of it, so you know, it's just a silhouette. And those guys, they have a lot of experience working with photographers, but they're not photographers. So you have to really work with the driver and the tracker to push them to get on these animals and to be at the right distances and the right location. And sometimes it's just dumb luck that they walk in the right direction coming to you. But we did a lot of research before we left to you know, that they understood that we were coming to do photography and then potentially promote their location. So we had some good people that we were working with over there. I don't know that I've got too much more post processed. I've got like a
Gorgeous.
It's a bee eater. And so I guess the thing about this shot that's kind of funny is I mentioned over 70,000 photos, but I'll bet you 3,000 of them were this bird. And we were supposed to be having lunch by this watering hole where some hippos were, and I don't know if, I'm sure some of you guys know my wife Maya, and so Maya shoots a D850, and she had a 150 to 600 millimeter lens, and she's like the hummingbird photographer. So we saw this bee eater, and it turned into a competition who could get the best in-flight photo of the bee eater.
Hmm.
So it was just crazy, man. It was just shutters going, and she won the contest. I have to admit, she got the most beautiful photo.
You have a male
The
lion.
frame, there's like two frames before this one. He's got the bee in his mouth, but I don't like the shot. And this is after he had just swallowed it. So I didn't really get one of him with the bee that I like, but I've got so many photos of him. I haven't even looked at them yet.
Oh, nice.
I like this shot because I like
Yeah.
I like the pink flower that's in there.
Oh,
It just, man, you look at that
Awesome.
animal and you just go, I know where people have their imagination now for horror movies.
Well,
yeah.
that'd be a good shot for a dentist office.
Yeah, right. I know, but I just thought, what are the odds? There's one little pink flower. How did it survive?
Yeah, that's great.
And it was like in a den area where there were probably about a dozen hyenas laying in there. So I just thought that photo was kind of funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I don't know. Don't know what this is. So this is the lion that I was telling you guys was stalking those zebras. And man, just look at those eyes, right? Just got the right sun and the right angle, and
Yeah, catch light and all.
yeah. So for me, when I go through the photos, I'm like usually zoomed in on the photo, and I'm just going through them very fast because there's so many of them. And that's all I'm really looking at are the catch lights on the eyes. And if I get one that I like, then usually I'll go and I'll look at it. Every now and then, if I love a photo, I might take catch lights from another photo and put it on there. But I don't do a lot of like Photoshop stuff like that usually. But
Mm-hmm. Wow.
yeah, so that's, I don't know, there's a million more, but I don't know. This was a Milky Way shot. Yeah, you know, when I was reading to go out there, everybody was talking about Kenya is the bucket list spot for astro because you have the north and south hemispheres in the same sky because you got the equator goes right there. So
Wow.
I brought one lens to go do some astro stuff, and I think I was a little bit long on my exposure with this. Either that or it was pretty windy, because if I zoom in on it, I can see like a little bit of a line that they're not,
Up in the corners, you're seeing a little bit.
yeah, where they're not perfectly round. So I was pretty careful about shutter speed. So I think it was probably wind that was getting me.
What were you using? Like a 14-2.8?
I was using a Tokina. I think it's like a 16 to 28, 2.8, something like that. It might have been a 14. No wider than that.
I've got a 14 1.8 I've not used, and I want to try and get out the next few days and do some astro with it.
Yeah, you know, going to Botswana, you're on these like tiny planes, you know, they're like 4-6 seats, something like that, and you're only allowed 44 pounds. And I was carrying the D5 and the Z9.
Oh man.
And I think I think I stepped on the scale with my camera bag. My camera bag was close to 25, 30 pounds, something like that. So all I brought with me was the big Sigma lens, the 28 to 300, and then this Tokina lens. But yeah, I wish I had something better for Astro. I've got a Laowa, what is it, that zero distortion 12 mil.
Yeah, 0D,
Yeah.
15 millimeter.
Great lens.
Yeah, I've got that one too, and I brought that one to Everest, but I didn't. It weighs a ton, that lens.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is.
So I wound up leaving that one back.
Really. Yeah, that's a fabulous lens.
Yeah, I really like Laowa. I was repping their product for a while. I haven't done much with that lately, but you know, they're hard to use because they're all manual lenses, but
Yeah,
if you get the shot, you really have.
Well, it's interesting you say that because like for the Astro stuff, you know, you can set your aperture or, you know, you can look at the depth of field. If you've got a foreground object, I mean, you can just calibrate that without trying to focus in the dark. You just turn your lens and you know you got it.
Yeah,
know,
I agree, right? And you can always zoom in on the back and just look at one star to see if it's round.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the thing I've
but-
noticed, if I turn on focus peaking and I go on the back of the Sony, I just turn it until I've got red stars.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that's a good idea too.
Yeah, but like I said, it was just too heavy, so I didn't bring it.
Yeah. It is a
Next
heavy
week
lens.
we're up to the Arctic watershed, and I'm hoping to get some nice northern lights and Milky Way up there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
I need to work on this one a little bit, dial in the light. It's a little bit too hot for my liking, but yeah, well, this was crazy. We just went to some watering hole and they take in, they make like a little table on the front of the Jeep and they bring out the gin and you just sit there and have a gin and tonic and enjoy the watering hole and watch the sunset. And this is a Cape Buffalo.
Hmm.
And I suspect he just died from natural causes because he was big and they don't have too much that's after them, you know, the big cats maybe, but it's dangerous for the big cats to go and try to take down a buffalo. So he probably just died of natural causes, but I put on my Facebook that not like, I don't want to say like Cape Buffaloes are evil, but I couldn't help but think that this is sort of a metaphor for peace triumphs over evil.
You
That's
know, it's
called
70
a lilac-breasted roller is
Yeah.
the bird.
So it's 70,000 shots, 1,000 a week. You got a year and a half to process them.
Yeah, I know. But you know, like I said, Bob, you know, that bee eater was probably 3,000 of them. So I pick
Yeah.
one out and then I don't even look at the rest of them.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got
So-
some good stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have just some beautiful leopard photos that I haven't even found yet in all the stuff. So the guides are amazing, you know. I said to Maya the one day, I said, oh, this guy's full of it, you know, because they were clipping along pretty good, and he'd be like, oh yeah, there's a leopard track, and I just said, oh, this guy seems like he's just driving us around. And the analogy that I use is like when we go fishing, you charter a boat and they don't care if you catch fish, they just drive around the lake. And I sort of felt like that at first. And man, the next thing you knew, this guy had us with this huge termite mound with a leopard sitting on the top of it. It was fantastic. So, and I know those were they were in good light. And it was a younger leopard that I guess there were two brothers, and this was one of the brothers, and mom had gone off, and the guide said that the other brother was probably, you know, very close to where we were, but just hiding. And so the leopard wasn't moving. It was staying up there waiting for mom to come back. And was a great opportunity for us to get a ton of shots with him not running away. So yeah,
That's what you do to occupy your time.
yeah. Now,
Yeah.
man, I'm like,
So you spent a
Swamped.
month in South Africa. Did you do any business at your office down there?
yeah, you know, actually I did. They made me. I had we got 2 projects in Nairobi. One of them was to do some software for a company that does they make ketchup and jams and jellies and stuff like that. And then the other company does printing. So we invented this little computer we call the Q Nano that they hook up to the manufacturing equipment, and then all of our software sits on top of that. But it was just kind of a way for me to go and say, okay, it's a tax write-off. Let's go focus on the photography business now.
Yeah. Man, you're living the dream. It's beautiful stuff.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Really, really nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll go and actually put something together to show you guys.
Oh, that'd be great.
That was looking out my porch. So
Wow.
that's the rough life, right? Looking at so these guys, you know, when you go there, if you really work the fact that you're a photographer, like in our case, what they did was they made me send bios, and then they checked out, you know, that we shot professionally and all this, but they gave huge discounts, like huge discounts. And then they would give you the cherry locations like this, because the guy knows that, you know, if I've got the view of Kilimanjaro looking out my porch, that's going to be good advertising for them on the back end. And that's kind of what I worked out with them.
Okay.
But they really, really hooked us up.
So you're going to be home for a whole week and then head north.
Yeah. That's the plan. We don't have to leave that early, but
Did
We're
you
gonna
ever
go-
get did you ever get your fish in the pond?
Bob, I swear, no, they're still in the pool, except to say that there's got to be 100 fish in the pond right now. And I didn't put them in there, you know, they're just baby fish that I don't know if they were on the feet of ducks, you know, a lot of times the eggs will be on their feet, and you'll get fish in there that way. But they looked at me like they're probably goldfish, but they're just black, you know, they're not really gold. But there's
Mine are all
gotta be.
still alive, but I've only got 2 or 3 babies in 2 years.
Oh, well, if you want more, I've got 100 of them. I swear to God, there's 100 of them. I'd go down there and I look and I go, where do they come from?
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah,
shot.
so we're gonna go and we're gonna see if we can find some bears next week. I think like what we do is we drive up to Nakina, it's about 15 hours, and then we catch it's a float plane that flies us up maybe another half an hour or so. And we'll be up in the Arctic watershed area. It's just the complete abyss. But we'll see if we can find some bears and some eagles on the way.
Okay. Excellent, Ron. Sure glad
Thank
you
you.
got to stop in.
Oh man, I miss seeing everybody. And like I said, I was kind of bummed out. I was working and I saw, oh, I was gonna miss you guys. I finally caught the time. I appreciate you guys looking at these photos. I know you've been on probably for a while now.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. Thank you. They're beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I had one of the guys that we were with, the Masai Mara guys, but I don't see it anywhere. I don't like that shot. That was me playing around with cropping, but I like that's how you do laundry there.
Oh, yeah.
On a thorny bush.
Tell you
Yeah,
dry.
this is what they do. They go and they collect these branches and they pile them up. They make a big circle of these branches go around the village, and that's how they keep the animals out or any intruders. And I've got something going right now where this village is in Amboseli, and I'm very close now with the chief's son. And sort of separately from this, I'm part of a foundation that raises money for children to go to school, and it's focuses on little girls specifically because they feel like that the women will become the teachers. So they raise money for just kids that need money to go to school, obviously, but it doesn't just give it to them one time. It follows them through their entire schooling. And so what I'm trying to do with these guys in Amboseli is work with them to get them solar lights, because we were like, you can see how bright it is right here. And we went into their home, and the home is maybe 10 feet square, and it was almost pitch black in there. I was using my phone to just be able to see inside of it. And the children don't have any lights really to do schoolwork. Once the sun is down, that's it, you know. So hopefully.
I saw a documentary a few years ago where a guy had come up with some kind of a glorified plastic bottle that he would put in a hole in the roof. And it took an incredibly small light, but it lit up the whole inside.
Yeah, they need to do something like that, you know, and they just, you know, they don't have it, you know, that these houses are made out of cow dung and mud and wood, and Maya couldn't even really be in it because just the smoke that was left in there from, you know, there's like a little hole in the floor where they'll put the wood to have their fire. And I don't know how I would be in it if there was an actual fire burning.
Yeah.
But so anyways, next year what I want to do is I want to do a project where I go and I work with Paul, and I actually bring professional lighting with me, and I want to photograph everybody in this village. So we'll bring them like some, you know, like I said, some solar lights and stuff like that, and try to help them out with the kids for school. But I want to see if I can do that project to photograph all these people. Just amazing, you know, like you can see these costumes. And I don't know if you guys can see her ear. See how it's split?
Yeah.
You know, it's just from hanging weight on it. It's just opened it up like this, and pretty incredible. Yeah, so between now and then, we'll see if we can get that going on. But I'll try to put some shots together in like a thoughtful folder that.
Okay. Keep
It's
it
not
down
all
to
over.
under 1,000.
Yes, it's not all over the map like this. I know I can't even find the photos that I wanted to find for you.
That's okay. Beautiful. I'm glad you did this for us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
I appreciate it. You're welcome.
Okay, guys, we got anything else on the agenda for tonight? We've seen some pretty good pictures.
That was great.
We didn't see Gary's pictures.
Maybe next time.
Gary's been doing some research on some pretty amazing photographic tools. So
So what should we be? I want to see them. Why can't we see them? Because it's too late. Is there like is there something that we should be working on?
What?
No, I think everybody's doing great. To keep up the good work and you know, keep moving along.
Gary, are you planning on maybe at the next meeting going into those AI tools you've been looking at lately?
Possibly, yeah. That'd be a good topic, and some other techniques I've tried. Yeah, it needs a little bit of time, but yeah, we can get into that.
Yeah, I you know, to give them a sentence or two as to what the subject is.
I don't have the name of the software, but there's an AI program out there where you just write a sentence in describing something, and artificial intelligence will go into a database of photographs and recreate an image composite based on that. And then you can go in and modify and do variations, and each one is a unique picture. It's really interesting. You know, what we're going to get from it, I don't know, but just where that technology is going and what it can do is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. It's become like a big topic in the photography pages.
Yes.
Everybody's fighting about it because they're saying, well, it's not really a photograph. Yeah, the AI stuff. Because it's like Gary said, all you do is you type in words and then it creates the image.
So it's like, it's graphic art.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'm trying to find one right now.
I saw something like that on Facebook recently where somebody
Yeah.
said they created landscapes and they were all AI, was not real
Right.
photographs.
well, just imagine what a couple, 3 years more advancement's going to do.
Yeah.
It's a subscription-based program that you can try it for a week, and then after that, you have to buy into the subscription. But
Isn't it called
it's interesting.
Mind something. Do you know what it's called? Shoot, man, we just were looking at it. Oh, okay. Can I share my screen again?
Yeah.
Okay. So like that photo, can you see that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's an AI photo. So Eric, Eric is a very, very good photographer in Spain. And he's really a architecture photographer. And lately he's been doing this and it's just been driving everybody crazy because these things go into photo competitions, but they're not.
He
Like
didn't
that one.
snap the picture.
No, this is just, all he does is he types in whatever his imagination, like 3 or 4 words, and then the software creates that image.
Wow.
But
This is pretty indicative of the kind of stuff you get with it. It's really interesting.
yeah, oh, I like that one right there. So
Yeah.
this was one that
Wow.
there was like a battle going on about this. But I think it doesn't have a place in our photo competitions, but I think it's brilliant to inspire you to, you see this lighting and these different techniques, and there's no reason why when we're out taking photos, we can't, try to set that up or watch for that, or then
This
go
looks-
back and post-process your photo to
Does
look
this
like
look
that.
similar to some stuff we were doing last year?
But the one line description of this might be girl looking into video store at night or something and adding a couple of things. And then the software takes over and starts giving you variations, and you can push it in a direction. It'll start with giving you like 4 or 5 images. You pick one that you like, ask it for variations. It gives you more variations, pick another one of that, and then you can start playing around. So it's really interesting, kind of scary.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, what can you say? The tools are here. They're going to get better, and they're going to just blow the minds of the photo clubs.
Yeah,
That's
there's going to
another
be a
art form.
lot of controversy on whether or not they're allowed. It's just like the sky replacement and all that, and how far you let the photos go to be part of a competition, because pretty soon it'll be a matter, I'm not a big fan of it. Like I said, I like it for artistically, the images I think are brilliant, but I was teasing the guys, all the landscape guys were doing all the sky replacement and buying and selling these packages, with all these skies. And I said, hey, you guys, I want you all to buy my animal replacement. And they said, what is it? I said, well, if you take a picture of a squirrel, but you didn't really want a squirrel, you wanted it to be a lion, you just take my lion and stick them in there. And so where do you draw the line? With the sky, you go, oh, it's okay, but with the animal, no, it's not okay.
But you
And-
might
Well,
have something there, Ron.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, or the other argument is if I can do it with Photoshop by myself, then what's the problem with having it be automated? And so, because like with skies, we replaced skies before that tool came out.
Sure.
Yeah, no, it's going to cause all kinds of crazy discussions.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it needs to be your own work, you know, not AI or not somebody else's sky. It should be your own work. To me, this AI stuff is another art form, which is
Yeah,
going to
I
be
agree.
wonderful. It's going to be fun to play with,
It's a
but I
little
don't
bit,
think it belongs in the photography club.
it's a
world.
little like fractals. If you've ever worked with fracs on the piece on your tablet, the program's called Frax, Frax, and you start with a fractal and you burrow into it and change all the parameters, and you end up with a vector form piece of art that's radically different than you started with. Now, the fact that you helped create that, it's still iffy. It's not a photo.
Mhm, mhm. I would
I
agree.
gotta
with
say goodbye. Thank you all. That was a lot of really good stuff. I haven't packed yet and I head out tomorrow.
Okay.
so-
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
well, we're hitting our time limit.
Where are you going, Kirk?
Oh, I'm just going out to Denver and Fort Collins for a quick little trip, visit my kid. I got fun stuff coming up though. Okay. All right.
Safe travels.
Good one.
Adios.
Take care, Kirk.
All right. Bye-bye.
Right.
Bye.
Okay, anything else for tonight, or we're going to wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
Okay,
Gary's done.
Good seeing you guys.
yeah,
Yeah, good seeing you.
thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Chris.
John.
Bye,
Yeah.
thanks, Bob.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.